What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a lot of Marvel and DC Studios news to go over. We've got leaks surrounding Spider-Man Brand New Day's trailer and when that's going to be dropping. Also, Mark Ruffalo talks The Incredible Hulk 2 after all these years. Is that movie finally happening? And last but certainly not least, Zack Snyder is actually coming back to DC. Yeah, probably not. So today's video will be timestamped just because we have so many stories to get into. So if you're only interested in a few or one, you can jump around. With that being said, let's jump into our first topic, which is Spider-Man 4, otherwise known currently as Spider-Man Brand New Day. Weeks ago, Sony dropped the announcement trailer. That was fun, but it really didn't reveal anything about the film or about the movie, but all of that could be about to change very soon. A new rumor is making the rounds online, and many credible sources are saying that Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to be playing in front of Avatar, Fire and Ash this December. Now, once again, this is a rumor. This is just a leak. We don't know. It hasn't been confirmed. I, for one, could see this happening, seeing as how Avatar is a big Disney film and they want to get eyes on another big Disney film, even though Sony is working on it with them. But you get what I mean. MCU, Disney, same thing. Though I'm not sure this is going to actually happen. In my personal opinion, I could see them doing Avengers Doomsday before I see them doing this with Spider-Man Brand New Day. Either way, I think we will get a huge MCU project in front of Avatar, Fire and Ash when it releases this December. Let's keep things moving. Talking about the MCU still, Mark Ruffalo has talked about The Incredible Hulk 2 recently. And look, there's a lot of things that are being said about this online. A lot of people saying that, oh, this is confirming that The Incredible Hulk 2 is in development and it's actually happening. Yeah, don't believe that, guys. Incredible Hulk was first released in 2008, and I, for one, love that movie, but we've been waiting so long and there's been no sequel. The reason for which is the distribution versus production rights when it comes to the Incredible Hulk as a character. Universal holds the distribution rights to any solo Hulk film, while Marvel holds the production rights. So this means Universal could profit from distributing a Hulk movie, even if Marvel is the one to produce it. And currently, both companies don't want to play nice together, and I can understand why Marvel is not too keen to put all the money into producing a movie only for Universal not to have to do anything and they make a bunch of money still. So this is what Mark Ruffalo actually said about The Incredible Hulk 2. I don't know if you know the story of that, but it's not really owned by Marvel. It's a Universal property. I don't know if it'll ever come to be. Honestly, we keep talking about it and what it would be. There's been so many Hulk movies already. It's like, does anyone really want another one? But I love one, and I do think the audiences would be into it if we could crack the nut of it. Also, crack the nut of it is a crazy thing to say. But yeah, basically The Incredible Hulk 2 is in the same developmental hell that it has been for many, many years, almost 20 years at this point. Disney and Universal still don't want to play nice together, and it looks like we may never ever get this film. But if you're a fan of Mark Ruffalo and The Incredible Hulk, do not fret. We have official set photos of him on the set of Spider-Man Brand New Day, so you can still look forward to seeing the big green smashing machine next July. But all right, folks, let's move on to some DCU news because we do have some DCU news and rumors to talk about this video. There's a rumor about the Snyderverse being restored. We're going to get into that. But first, let's talk about something else, that James Gunn is going to be bringing a beloved character to the DCU. That character is none other than Static, which many of us know as Static Shock due to the very popular television in the early and mid 2000s. It never gets old. A lot of people have been wondering about Static coming to the DCU, and this is something that James Gunn actually talked about that is kind of making more rounds online recently. Michael B. Jordan was actually once upon a time working on a Static Shock movie, and apparently it was about to go in development perhaps, but after James Gunn took over the DC universe, all of that kind of got canceled. James really wants to bring this character into the DC universe, but he's indicated there are some challenges in doing so. And that makes sense because Static is one of those characters, kind of just like how the Incredible Hulk is owned by Universal and there's all these rights and distribution issues. Static is not originally owned by DC, so there's a bunch of issues when it comes to that. Static is actually a Milestone Comics character, and DC distributed the comic books, but they don't actually own that character. So this kind of makes it hard for anything to really happen when it comes to a movie. There's already been a ton of legal issues about the character in the past when it comes to DC and having him in shared stories with people in the DC universe. But despite all this, James Gunn does say that he hopes to figure out a way to integrate Static into the DCU, and that he's aware of the desire to see the characters in the new franchise by fans. And while there are no immediate plans, he has the door fully open to introduce him in future projects. So we might be waiting a while to see Static in the DCU, but folks, it might just be coming. All right, so last but not least, let's talk about Zack Snyder, the Snyderverse being restored, and all the Snyder brothers ascending with Zack Snyder into Snyderverse heaven. So Zack Snyder recently posted some pictures to his Instagram of Henry Cavill, a shot of him as Superman, I guess a behind the scenes shot that we've never seen before. Also, the next day he posted a picture of Deathstroke, and that was a picture folks had never seen before, and it just led to so many rumors and people saying wild things on the internet. Apparently somehow this is a sign that the Snyderverse is going to be restored. Folks, that's not what's happening. Folks, this means absolutely nothing. More than likely these were just pictures that Zack had, and he realized people had never seen them, and they probably never were going to see them since, you know, his universe is over and done with. So instead of just having them take up space on his hard drive, he decided to share the pictures with fans. And folks, I think it's just as simple as that. James Gunn was literally hired for a reason. It was because Warner Brothers was not happy with the state of things at DC, and they realized they needed a reboot, a reset. It doesn't make sense that they've all of a sudden changed their mind for no apparent reason and rehired the same guy. Though I do have a theory about how we might actually get a chance to see the Snyderverse once again on screen. Now, you wouldn't know it due to all the hateful discourse between fans online, but James Gunn and Zack Snyder are actually really good friends. James Gunn actually wrote Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead film, and recently the two of them took a photo together at Warner Brothers. But of course, people just ignore these facts and think they must be bitter enemies because, you know, Zack Snyder got fired and James Gunn got hired. But behind the scenes, James Gunn and Zack Snyder are friends, and I think that picture they took could actually be more than just a picture. Don't get me wrong, I could be wrong. I know I just spent a few minutes telling you how Zack Snyder's pictures are just pictures, but hear me out just for one moment. I think it's quite possible that James and Zack were having a meeting that day they took this photo, and I think that meeting could have been them discussing how they could actually merge both of the worlds together. The Snyderverse along with the DCU, and we've already seen the beginnings of this happening on screen. See, we've already set up Earth X in Peacemaker Season 2, and in the comics, Earth X is home to an evil Superman. And what if this evil Superman is none other than Henry Cavill? And this would work so well, in my opinion, with what was already set up in Zack Snyder's universe. In those DC films, we were already seeing visions of a world or a future where Superman had gone bad and things were looking not so good for our Earth. Now, the movies never spell out to us exactly what these visions are, and that's why I think it would be really easy to explain to the audience that the visions we were seeing in Zack Snyder's universe were actually the visions of another universe known as Earth X, where an evil Superman reigned over all and the Germans had won World War II. Now, maybe a lot of people wouldn't like them doing this, but I think it could actually be really cool. And when the DCU is ready to do their Crisis on Infinite Earths and have multiple universes clashing together, this would be a great time to explore this story. But hey, that's just my theory, and it probably will never happen because I think it's really cool, and the really cool stuff I like never seems to happen. With that being said, folks, that's all the Marvel and DC news and rumors I had for today. I'm very curious, what do you think of today's news? Comment below, let a Black Jedi know. If you like videos like this, then you are already in the right place. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. You're going to be seeing so much more content for me in the next coming days. Once again, my name is ABJ, also known as a Black Jedi, and I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, baby.